There's a phrase that many of us have probably heard before, same stuff, different day, or some variation of that phrase. And some of us maybe have used that phrase as well numerous times to describe our life. That it seems to just be the same stuff, a different day, some days better than others. A song that was made popular in the movie Frozen, Let It Go, has lyrics that say this: let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, let it go. Turn away and slam the door. Let it go. To me, that seems to be a phrase that fits any number of aspects of our life, but in this particular season, in the Christian church year of Easter, and talking about resurrection or Jesus leaving the tomb, let it go. What do we hold on to? It appears that at one point this was a part of a bridge on each side of the banks of the Buffalo River here at Buffalo River State Park. Beautiful stonework, and part of that would make me think, if this indeed was part of a bridge at one time, it was possibly done during the WPA days, putting people to work and making a bridge over the river. But you can see that the river is flowing well, and obviously springtime, and you might say it's out of its banks, but it's still contained, but it's a lot higher than it normally is. What happened to the bridge? Why wasn't it rebuilt? What happened to its beauty, and why all of a sudden did the state of Minnesota decide this wasn't worth rebuilding? Did they let it go? A few hundred yards away from that previous bridge that I showed you is this span across the Buffalo River. Obviously, it doesn't have the ornate nature of the stones put together and nicely shaped. There are concrete abutments on each side of the river that hold the span of steel across the river. This is now the way to get across to see the other side of the park. Is one better than the other? No, but this one is functional. The other one is but a memory. An aspect of the Easter story that continues to intrigue me over all of these years is that realization, or at least as the accounts are written in the Gospels, how come nobody recognized Jesus? They thought possibly he was the gardener or the keeper of the cemetery on the road to Emmaus. He talked to a couple of people, and they thought that they knew something was going on, but they didn't recognize him. What happened? Had Jesus changed somehow into somebody unrecognizable? Or was it those who last saw him on the cross and then in the tomb who had an image and they couldn't let that image go? They had a picture of death, of what was past. They had a picture of confinement and containment. And when they saw life and freedom, they couldn't recognize it because it didn't fit into their image. It didn't fit into what they had experienced. I think at times this whole Easter resurrection business isn't just so much about life after death, it's about living every day, to let it go. But it's difficult. I have images and ideas and perspectives and things that I hold near and dear, things that I put in plastic containers as well and want to control and contain. But does that serve me? Does it free me up to live, or does it keep me bogged down to the past? One of those other parts in John's gospel that I think is very powerfully said is when Mary recognizes and says, "Rabboni!" And she probably wants to go and hug Jesus. Jesus says, "Don't cling to me. Don't cling to me." Once again, an intriguing statement that we need, I think, in some ways, to let some of that stuff go instead of clinging to it, but also that maybe Jesus says and believes that we have the gifts, the abilities to live life as free people, to live life caring for one another, to live life differently than we have in the past. Don't cling to me. It's that Jesus goes ahead of us. The Spirit of God guides us. We can be challenged, and sometimes uncomfortably challenged, to see ourselves and our world in a different light. You know, when I can keep things contained and label those boxes and those plastic tubs, it makes my life feel a little more organized than when things are scattered about. Maybe instead of trying to organize and contain, I need to let it go. And then the freedom is much more powerful. Then the opportunities to explore things is readily available to me. Those are some of the images and the ideas that bounce around in my head in this time of transition, in this time of Easter, in this time of life, to let it go and to move on. Going back instead of letting go may not be as easy as we may think, because things have deteriorated. Weeds have grown up. Things don't look the same coming back in another direction. And so we try to recapture sometimes, and all we get is more frustrated than maybe try to fix and repair and change the way things were. But ultimately, the past is the past, and things wear out and they're not the same. But the life, as the Buffalo River underneath here, continues to move on. So we have choices. Do we wish to go back, or do we wish to let go and move on? It's that same piece of music that I mentioned earlier, Let It Go. Here are some more lyrics that are towards the end of the song. It's funny how some distance makes everything seem small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. The fears of letting go, the fears that what we thought was once safe and secure has been disrupted. Is it a fear? Or is it the lack of confidence in moving into the future, of seeing things in a different way? Could it be that we are called to move into the future, not dragging with us that which is of the past, or not staying within the realms of that which is comfortable, but moving forward, of not hanging on and having open arms to embrace what is to come? As always, thank you for watching.